Hey, English learners, welcome back to Mr. English Fluent Tutor, and welcome back to another wonderful episode. I am Anna.
And I am Abel.
Abel, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
What do you think about when you hear the words, not wasting your life?
Honestly, Anna, when I hear those words, my first thought is that you need to become incredibly famous. Like you need to be known all around the world, make millions of dollars, or work every single hour of the day without stopping or resting. That is what not wasting your life means to me. You have to be constantly busy and always achieving something huge and impressive.
Oh, Abel, I completely understand why you think that, and I love that you shared it so honestly. But I want to gently correct that idea, because not wasting your life is actually not about grand public success at all. It's about daily intention. It means choosing carefully how you spend your focus and your energy each day. It means enjoying simple moments and growing a little bit every single day in ways that truly matter to you personally.
Wow. Okay, that is a really different way of seeing it, Anna. So it's not about the big, dramatic achievements that everyone else can see. It's more about the quiet, personal choices you make every single morning when nobody else is watching. That actually feels much more reachable and much more real. I think I needed to hear that today, genuinely.
Exactly, Abel. And that is such a beautiful realization. And that is exactly what we're going to talk about together in this entire episode today. We're going to explore what it truly means to live with purpose, to make better daily choices, and to stop letting your precious time and energy quietly slip away without you even noticing it happening.
I love that framing, Anna, and I'm already feeling inspired just from that short introduction. And I think so many of our listeners out there right now are going to relate to this topic deeply. So many of us feel like we're moving through our days on a kind of automatic setting, just drifting along without really being present or intentional about what we're actually doing.
Yes, and that feeling of drifting is so common and so human, Abel. And I want to start our conversation today with a beautiful little analogy that I absolutely love. Imagine that every single morning when you wake up, someone hands you a fresh, full bottle of clean water. That bottle represents your entire day. Your attention, your energy, and your focus are all inside that one bottle.
Oh, okay. That is such a vivid image, Anna, and I can already picture it so clearly. So that bottle is everything I have for the day. My mental energy, my concentration, my motivation, and once that water is gone, it's gone for that day, right? I cannot get a second bottle sent to me just because I wasted the first one carelessly.
Exactly right, Abel. And that's the key point. Now think about what happens when you spend the first 2 or 3 hours of your morning just scrolling mindlessly through social media, or when you spend large portions of your day worrying intensely about things that are completely outside of your control. That water is simply pouring out through a hole in the bottom of your bottle, straight onto the floor, wasted.
That makes so much sense, Anna. And when I'm honest with myself, I can definitely see that happening in my own life. I pick up my phone first thing in the morning before I even say good morning to myself, and before I know it, an entire hour has gone by, and I haven't done a single thing that actually moves me forward or makes me feel good about my day.
Yes, and recognizing that pattern is already a massive first step, Abel. So well done for being honest. The point of the water bottle analogy is not to make you feel guilty at all. It's simply to help you become more aware. When you become aware of where your water is going, you can start making small, deliberate choices to drink it more deeply by focusing on things that genuinely feed your growth and your happiness.
Right. So drinking your water deeply means choosing activities that actually fill you up rather than drain you, like spending 30 minutes practicing English speaking out loud, or reading something meaningful, or working on a personal goal that excites you. Those choices are like slowly and carefully drinking that clean water instead of just letting it spill all over the floor while you're distracted.
Oh, I love how you expressed that, Abel. Perfectly said. And I want to add something important here. Drinking your water deeply does not mean you can never relax or rest. Rest is absolutely necessary, and it's not the same as mindless time wasting. Intentional rest, where you actually choose to rest and enjoy it fully, that is still drinking your water. It's still a purposeful use of your energy.
That distinction is so helpful, Anna, because I think a lot of people feel guilty anytime they're not being productive, and that guilt actually makes everything worse because then you feel bad during your rest time and you're not really resting at all. So intentional rest means you choose it consciously and you allow yourself to fully enjoy it without that heavy layer of guilt sitting on top of it.
Exactly, Abel. And that brings us beautifully to our next idea, which I call the room with two windows. I want you to imagine a room, a simple, quiet room. And in this room, there are two windows, side by side. The first window, on the left, is covered in a thick layer of gray clouds. It's dark and heavy, and when you stare out of it, all you can see is fog and old rain.
Okay, I'm imagining it, Anna, and it already feels a little bit heavy and sad just thinking about it. What does that cloudy window represent in real life? I'm guessing it's something that many of us spend a lot of time staring at even when we don't mean to or even realize we're doing it.
Yes, you're right, Abel. That cloudy window on the left represents the window of regret. It's the window where you stare back at your past mistakes, your missed opportunities, and the years you feel you somehow wasted. When you spend most of your mental energy staring out of that window, you feel paralyzed, you feel stuck, and you can't move forward because you're completely absorbed in what already happened and cannot be changed.
Wow, that is such a powerful image, Anna. And I recognize that window. I know that window very well, actually. Sometimes I catch myself thinking about how I should have started learning English more seriously years ago, or how I wasted so much time on things that didn't help me grow. And when I'm in that mindset, I feel completely frozen, like I simply cannot take any new steps forward at all.
And that feeling is so completely normal, Abel. And I want you to know that. But here's the beautiful part of this analogy. In that same room, there's a second window. This one is on the right side, and it's wide open. And when you look out of it, you can see a lush green garden, full of life, full of light, full of color and possibility. That window is the present moment.
Oh, I absolutely love that image, Anna. The green garden window. So instead of being stuck staring at that gray, cloudy window of regret and past mistakes, I can simply shift my gaze slightly to the right and look out at this alive, beautiful, growing garden that is right here, right now, available to me today. The present moment is the garden where everything is still possible.
Perfectly expressed, Abel, 100%. And the most important thing to understand about the green garden window is that it does not require you to forget your past or pretend your mistakes never happened. It simply asks you to shift your primary gaze toward what is possible right now, today. The garden is always there waiting. You just have to choose to look at it more often than you look at the clouds.
That is genuinely beautiful, Anna, and I think it is something we all need to practice regularly, because the cloudy window is very strong and very loud. Regret has a very powerful pull. But knowing that the green garden window exists and is always right there next to it gives me a real sense of hope. I can choose where I look. That choice belongs to me and nobody else.
Yes, the choice always belongs to you. Well said, Abel. And that word choice brings us into our next wonderful idea beautifully. I want to talk about something I call the stepping stones analogy, and it connects very closely with something called pocket coins of focus, because once you decide to look out of the green garden window, the next natural question is, how do I actually begin crossing toward that garden?
Right, because even when you feel motivated and you are looking at all that possibility in the green garden, the actual river between you and the garden can feel extremely wide and very intimidating, like you want to get there, but the distance feels so massive that you do not even know where to put your first foot. And that overwhelming feeling can make you freeze all over again.
Exactly, Abel, and that is such a real and relatable feeling. But here's the wonderful truth about crossing any river of self-improvement. You do not need to jump the entire distance in one single giant leap. That would be terrifying and almost certainly impossible. Instead, what you do is you look down at your feet and you find the very first stepping stone, just one small stone right in front of you.
So rather than looking at the entire massive river ahead of me and feeling overwhelmed by how far the other bank is, I focus only on the next single stone beneath my feet. And then once I step onto that stone,
I look for the next one, and then the next one after that. And slowly, stone by stone, I actually make it all the way across without ever needing to jump the whole river at once.
Yes, and now let me add the pocket coins idea into this, because I think they work together so beautifully. Think of each stepping stone as a small 10-minute coin of focused effort. Not 2 hours, not a full day of intense study, just 10 focused, intentional minutes. 10 minutes of speaking English out loud, 10 minutes of reading something in English, 10 minutes of writing one short paragraph about your day.
Oh, wow, I love that, Abel, because 10 minutes sounds so completely manageable. I genuinely cannot say that I do not have 10 minutes in my day, because that would simply be not true. And when I think of my day as a collection of these small 10-minute coins that I can choose to spend wisely on things that build me up, it feels much less overwhelming than thinking I need to dedicate enormous chunks of time to make any real progress.
Exactly right. And those small coins of focused time add up so much faster than you would ever expect, Abel. Think about it this way. If you spend just one 10-minute coin on English speaking practice every single day for one full year, that adds up to more than 60 hours of real speaking practice, 60 hours of actual spoken English that you would not have had otherwise. That is a significant and meaningful amount of practice.
60 hours just from 10 minutes a day. Wow, that number is genuinely surprising when you say it out loud like that, Anna. It shows that consistency and small daily effort are actually far more powerful than occasional massive bursts of motivation that burn out quickly. The small stepping stone coins placed consistently, day after day, are what builds something truly lasting and solid over time.
Beautifully said, Abel, and that is such a wise insight. And this connects perfectly to our next key idea, which I want to call the clean knife analogy. Because once you start collecting your pocket coins of focus and stepping across your river one stone at a time, the next challenge many people face is that their days become very cluttered. They write enormous to-do lists full of 20 or 30 different things.
Oh, Anna, I'm definitely guilty of that. I love making big, long to-do lists because it makes me feel very productive and organized just to write everything down. But then I look at that massive list and I feel this heavy fog of stress settle in. Because when everything feels equally urgent and equally important, it becomes nearly impossible to know where to actually begin. So sometimes I end up doing nothing at all.
Yes, and that experience is so incredibly common, Abel. That fog of stress from an overcrowded list is very real and very paralyzing. And so this is where the clean knife analogy comes in. Imagine a kitchen knife that is very thick and covered in rust and dried food. It's dull and heavy, and when you try to cut anything with it, the cut is messy, slow, and exhausting. That dull knife is your overcrowded to-do list.
Okay, I can picture that perfectly, Anna. The dull, messy knife. And I can feel how frustrating it would be to try and use it. You're working twice as hard and getting far less done because the tool itself is cluttered and ineffective. So what does the clean, sharp knife look like in terms of how we structure our days and our goals when we are trying to live more intentionally?
A clean, sharp knife means identifying just one single high-value priority each morning before your day gets noisy and busy. Just one, not 10, not 5, one. You ask yourself very simply, if I could accomplish just one thing today that would make this day feel truly worthwhile and meaningful, what would that one thing be? And then you protect that one thing with your water, with your focus, with your best attention.
That is such a clarifying way to approach the day, Anna. And I love that it doesn't mean you can never do other things. It just means you have a clear anchor, a sharp point, one non-negotiable thing that gets your best and most focused energy before everything else. And once that one important thing is done, you can feel genuinely good about your day, regardless of what else happens around it.
Yes, 100% able. That one completed priority creates what I like to call a foundation of momentum for the rest of your day. When you start your day with that one clean cut of intentional effort, everything else feels lighter and easier afterward. You're no longer operating from a place of scattered anxiety. You're operating from a place of quiet confidence because you've already done the most important thing.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense, Anna. And I think the reason most people never identify their one key priority is because they're afraid of making the wrong choice. They worry that if they focus on one thing, they might be neglecting something else that's equally important. But the truth is that scattered attention on 15 things simultaneously produces far less meaningful results than deep, focused attention on just one single important thing.
Exactly right, Abel. And that fear of choosing the wrong priority is itself a form of procrastination. Any one clear priority chosen with genuine intention will always outperform 15 half-hearted priorities chosen out of anxiety and avoidance. The clean knife cuts clearly and cleanly. The cluttered list just creates more mess and more mental noise than you started with in the first place.
Right, and I want to be honest here, Anna, because I think this is a moment that a lot of our listeners will relate to deeply. Sometimes my inner voice tells me things like, it is already too late for me to make real changes. I've already wasted so many years. I'm too far behind to ever really catch up now. And that voice can be surprisingly loud and very convincing when it speaks.
Oh, Abel, I'm so glad you brought that up because that inner voice speaks to nearly every single person who is trying to grow and improve themselves. And I want to introduce a truly magical little word that changes everything when you add it to those painful thoughts. That word is yet. Such a tiny, simple three-letter word, and yet it carries enormous transformational power when you use it deliberately.
Yet. Okay, I'm listening, Anna. So how exactly does adding the word yet change those painful inner thoughts? Because when I say something like, I have not built real English fluency, it does feel very final and very closed off, like the door is already shut and locked. So how does yet open that door again? I genuinely want to understand how to use this word.
Yes, so when you say, I haven't built real English fluency, full stop, your brain hears that as a permanent and final statement of fact. The door closes. But when you say, I have not built real English fluency yet, everything changes immediately. The word yet tells your brain that this story is not finished. It signals that you are still in the process and that the destination is still absolutely reachable and waiting for you.
Oh, wow. That is such a powerful shift, Anna. The word yet turns a closed door into an open pathway. It transforms what feels like a dead end into simply the middle of the journey. So instead of saying, I don't speak confidently, I say, I don't speak confidently yet. Instead of saying, I wasted too much time, I say, I have not used my time as wisely as I want to yet. And that one small word makes the whole thought feel alive again.
Exactly, Abel. Beautifully stated. And the beauty of yet is that it is also deeply honest. You are not lying to yourself or pretending that everything is already perfect. You are simply acknowledging where you are right now while simultaneously keeping the future open and full of real possibility. You are saying, this is my current position on the road, and the destination is still very much ahead of me and reachable.
That is such an important point, Anna, because I think a lot of people confuse positive thinking with denying reality, and the word yet does neither of those things. It is honest about where you currently are, and it is hopeful about where you are still capable of going. It is grounded optimism rather than blind wishful thinking, and I can see how practicing that shift in language can genuinely rewire the way you see yourself over time.
Yes, rewire is exactly the right word, Abel. And this connects to something very important for all of our English learners listening today. The way you speak to yourself in your own internal dialogue shapes your learning experience enormously. When you speak to yourself with harshness and finality, you create mental walls that slow your progress. When you speak to yourself with gentle, honest openness, you create space for real growth to actually happen.
And that is a topic I want to stay on for just a moment longer, Anna, because I think the pressure that learners put on themselves is one of the biggest hidden obstacles to real progress. So many learners feel like there is an invisible judge sitting somewhere in the room with them, watching every mistake, counting every lazy afternoon, and keeping a permanent score of every imperfect learning session they have ever had.
Oh, Abel, that image is so vivid and so true. And I love how you described it because I have heard so many learners talk about exactly that feeling. And I want to address it directly, right now, with complete clarity. There is no teacher hiding behind your sofa. There is no invisible examiner sitting in the corner of your bedroom with a clipboard, counting your mistakes and deducting points for every imperfect effort you make.
That image of the teacher behind the sofa is both funny and strangely comforting at the same time, Anna. Because when you say it out loud like that, it sounds a little bit absurd, right? And yet, that is genuinely how so many people feel when they are trying to learn and grow independently at home. They feel constantly watched and judged, even though they are completely alone, and the only judge present is themselves.
Yes, and the deepest truth here, Abel, is that imperfect, private effort is not just acceptable, it's actually the exact method through which real clarity and genuine skill are built. Every single expert in every single field on this planet built their expertise through thousands of imperfect, messy, private practice sessions that nobody ever saw or celebrated. The polished results are simply what gets shared publicly afterward.
That is such a freeing realization, Anna, because it means you do not have to wait until you are already good before you start practicing. You practice precisely because you are not good yet. The imperfection is not a sign that you are failing. The imperfection is actually a sign that you are exactly where you need to be on the learning curve. It is evidence that you are actively in the process of growing.
Perfectly said, Abel. And this thought leads us gently into our final big analogy for today, which I absolutely love. I call it the slow friend analogy. I want you to think of a very dear friend, someone warm and kind and genuine. But this friend walks a little slower than you do. They're not in a hurry. They take their time and they savor each step of the walk.
Okay, I have that image, Anna. A warm, gentle, slow-walking friend. Someone who is not rushing anywhere, but who is fully present in enjoying every single moment of the walk. And I can already feel something calming about imagining that person. There is something deeply peaceful about someone who does not need to rush, who trusts that they will arrive exactly when they are supposed to arrive.
Yes, and the reason I love this analogy so much is because deep life fulfillment and genuine spoken confidence work in exactly the same way as that slow friend. They do not arrive suddenly in one dramatic, loud, overwhelming rush. They do not knock on your door one morning and announce themselves with a massive celebration. They simply catch up to you quietly, gently, and beautifully down the road.
So you were saying that if I slow down my own pace and stop rushing desperately through every task and every practice session, if I become more present and more intentional with each small step I take, then that deep sense of fulfillment and spoken confidence will naturally catch up to me over time, like a slow friend who always eventually arrives, even though they walk at their own gentle pace.
Exactly right, Abel. And the critical key here is that you keep walking. You do not stand still and wait for the slow friend to arrive. You keep moving forward consistently, stone by stone, coin by coin, one clean priority each morning with your water directed to what truly matters. And all the while, you stay aware that your slow friend of fulfillment is always moving towards you, just a little way behind.
That is such a comforting and motivating image, Anna, because it means progress is never truly lost, even when you can't see it or feel it in a given moment. As long as you keep walking forward with intention and consistency, your slow friend is always following behind you and will always eventually catch up. You just need to trust the walk and keep taking your small, intentional, daily steps forward.
Beautifully expressed, Abel, and I think that's such a wise way to hold this entire conversation in your heart. Now, I want to take a moment to look back at some of the really important words we've been using throughout our conversation today, because I know that our listeners are also here to grow their English vocabulary as well as their mindset. And we've been using some genuinely powerful words today.
Oh yes, I love this part, Anna, because the words we've been using in this conversation are not just useful for talking about personal growth and intentional living, they are words that come up in many different areas of daily life conversation, in work settings, in personal relationships, and so many different everyday situations. So let's go through them carefully and make sure everyone understands them deeply.
Great. So, our first word for today is intentional. Intentional means doing something on purpose, with a clear and conscious choice, rather than just letting things happen automatically or by accident. When something is intentional, it means you thought about it and chose it deliberately. A simple example sentence might be, she made an intentional decision to spend less time on her phone each evening before bed.
I love that word, Anna, because it's one of those words that sounds formal but is actually used very naturally in everyday English conversation. You could say something like, I'm being more intentional about how I spend my free time this year. And that sentence immediately communicates that you are making conscious, considered choices rather than just drifting through your days on automatic and letting life happen without your full participation.
Perfect example, Abel. Our second word is fulfillment. Fulfillment is that deep feeling of satisfaction and meaning that comes when you feel that your life, your work, or your actions are genuinely aligned with what truly matters to you. It's different from simple happiness because fulfillment is deeper and lasting. An example might be, learning a new language gave her a profound sense of personal fulfillment that no material possession could ever match.
Oh, that is a beautiful word and a beautiful example, Anna. Fulfillment is one of those words that is hard to describe, but very easy to recognize when you experience it. It's that quiet, warm, settled feeling deep in your chest when you know that what you are doing actually means something real and important to you. You could also say, he found great fulfillment in teaching others the skills that had taken him years to develop himself.
Lovely, Abel. Now, our third word is regret. Regret is the feeling of sadness, disappointment, or pain that comes when you think about something from your past that you wish you had done differently. It's a very natural human emotion, but we talk today about not letting it become your permanent window view. An example sentence might be, she felt deep regret about the years she had spent worrying instead of taking action on the things that mattered to her most.
Regret is such a heavy word, Anna, and I think most people carry some form of it somewhere inside them. And the important thing we discussed today is that regret is not bad or wrong to feel, but that we don't want to make it the only window we ever look out of. You might say, I have some regrets about how I spent my time in my 20s, but I'm choosing now to focus on what I can still do with the time that I have remaining ahead of me.
Yes, that is exactly the healthy relationship with regret that we want to cultivate, Abel. Now, our fourth word is maximize. To maximize something means to make the very most of it, to use it as fully and as effectively as possible. In the context of today's conversation, maximizing your time does not mean filling every second with frantic activity. It means using your focused energy on the things that genuinely matter most to you personally each day.
Maximize is a great word, Anna, and one that is very commonly used in both personal and professional conversations in English. You might hear someone say, I want to maximize my learning time this semester by focusing on speaking practice rather than just passive reading. And that sentence shows a really clear, strategic, intentional approach to using your available time and energy in the most effective way possible.
Wonderful example, Abel. Our fifth word is passive. Passive means receiving or experiencing something without actively engaging with it or doing anything in response. Passive learning means you are consuming information without actively using it or testing it. Reading English subtitles while watching a show is passive. Pausing the show and trying to repeat the sentences out loud is active. Both have value, but they produce very different kinds of results over time.
That is such an important distinction, Anna, especially for language learners. A lot of people spend enormous amounts of time in passive English consumption, watching shows, listening to music, reading posts online, and then they wonder why their speaking confidence is not growing as quickly as they hoped. And the answer is often that they need to shift some of that passive time into active, engaged, productive practice, where they're actually using the language themselves.
Exactly right, Abel. Our sixth word is presence. Presence in this context means the quality of being fully and completely in the current moment. It means your mind is not wandering into the past or drifting into anxious thoughts about the future. You are simply and completely here, now, fully engaged with whatever is directly in front of you. And presence is something that can genuinely be practiced and developed as a real daily skill.
Presence is such a valuable word and concept, Anna, and I think it is increasingly rare in our modern world of constant digital distraction. When I am practicing speaking English with full presence, I am not simultaneously worrying about whether I sound perfect or thinking about what I need to do later. I am simply speaking, listening, and responding in the moment. And that quality of full presence actually makes the practice session far more effective and enjoyable.
Beautifully said, Abel. And our seventh and final vocabulary word for today is transformation. Transformation means a deep, fundamental, and lasting change in something. Not a small surface adjustment, but a genuine shift in the way you think, speak, behave, or see the world around you. Real personal transformation in English fluency or in intentional living does not happen overnight. It is the accumulated result of many small, intentional daily actions taken consistently over a meaningful period of time.
Transformation is truly a powerful word, Anna, and it's one that carries a lot of hope and possibility within it. Because the word itself implies that what you are today is not necessarily what you will always be. You have the genuine capacity to transform through conscious efforts and consistent action. You might say, his transformation from a shy, hesitant English learner to a confident, fluent English speaker took 2 years of daily, intentional practice, but it was absolutely and completely worth every single step.
Oh, I love that sentence, Abel. And I think that sentence is actually a perfect bridge into our summary of everything we have discussed today, because it captures the entire spirit of this episode so beautifully. So, Abel, I would love for you to take us through a lovely recap of the main ideas we explored today so that our listeners can carry them clearly in their minds as they go about the rest of their day.
Absolutely, Anna. I would love to do that. So, today we talked about one of the most important and meaningful topics a person can reflect on, which is how to stop letting your precious time and energy quietly slip away, and how to start living with genuine daily intention and purpose. We opened with the beautiful water bottle analogy, reminding us that each morning we receive a fresh, full bottle of focused energy and attention, and that the choices we make about where we pour that water determine the quality and direction of our days.
Yes, that water bottle image is one that I personally come back to again and again, Abel. Please keep going because I think the recap is flowing so beautifully, and our listeners deserve to hear everything gathered together in one clear, cohesive place where it all makes sense together as a whole.
Thank you, Anna. We also explored the room with 2 windows, the cloudy window of regret that pulls your gaze backward into the painful past, and the wide-open green window of the present moment that shows you all the living possibility that still exists for you right here and right now, today. We talked about choosing consciously and deliberately to shift your gaze toward the garden more often than you look at the clouds.
Yes, and that choice of where to direct your gaze is one of the most powerful daily practices a person can develop. It does not require any special equipment or expensive resources. It just requires awareness and the willingness to make that gentle, conscious shift of attention toward what is still possible and alive and real in this present moment that you are living in right now.
Exactly, Anna. And then we crossed into the stepping stones and pocket coins ideas, understanding that you do not need to leap across an entire massive river of personal growth in one dramatic jump. Instead, you collect small, focused 10-minute coins of intentional effort every day, and you step across the river one steady stone at a time. And we showed how those small daily coins add up to something genuinely remarkable and significant when you stay consistent over a long period of time.
And 60 hours of speaking practice from just 10 focused minutes a day is proof of that. 60 hours that build real and lasting fluency, one small coin at a time. It is remarkable and inspiring when you see the numbers laid out so clearly like that. Small, consistent effort truly does compound into something extraordinary when you give it enough time and enough daily intention and commitment.
Beautifully added, Anna. We then talked about the magic word yet, which is perhaps my personal favorite idea from this entire conversation, transforming painful, closed, final statements about yourself into open, honest, hopeful journeys simply by adding that one small, powerful word at the end. I have not built real fluency yet. I have not used my time as wisely as I want to yet. And then we address the invisible teacher behind the sofa, reminding ourselves and all of our listeners that imperfect private effort is the real path to genuine, lasting clarity and skill.
Yes, and giving yourself genuine permission to be imperfect in your private practice is not laziness or low standards, it is actually deep wisdom. It is understanding that the messy middle of the learning process is not something to be ashamed of or hidden away. It is something to be embraced, shown up for consistently, and walked through with patience and self-compassion and steady ongoing effort every single day.
And finally, Anna, we closed with the beautiful slow friend analogy, reminding us that deep fulfillment and genuine spoken confidence do not arrive in a dramatic, sudden rush. They walk slowly and steadily behind you as you keep moving forward. And as long as you keep walking intentionally, one small step at a time, your slow friend will always eventually catch up to you, quietly, warmly, and at exactly the right moment on your unique personal journey forward.
Abel, that recap was absolutely wonderful, and I want to say a massive thank you to you for sharing so openly and so honestly throughout this entire conversation today. And I also want to say a huge, warm, heartfelt thank you to every single English learner who has been listening along with us today. You being here, giving your time and your attention to this episode, that itself is already an intentional and meaningful choice, and I want you to know that it matters.
Yes, a massive thank you from me too to everyone listening. And Anna, I want to say that conversations like this one remind me why I love being a part of this show so much. Because we are not just practicing English here today, we are actually thinking deeply about how to live well, how to grow intentionally, and how to make the most of the one precious life and the one precious bottle of water we are each given every single morning when we wake up.
That is so beautifully put, Abel, and it's the perfect note on which to invite our wonderful community to join the conversation directly, because we don't just want this to be something you passively listen to and then immediately forget as soon as the episode ends. We want this to spark real reflection and real action in your own daily life, starting today. So here's our community question for this episode.
Oh, I love the community question, Anna. I'm already thinking about what my own answer would be as you ask it. I think this question is going to spark some really honest and meaningful responses in the comments section from our incredible community of learners from all around the world who all share this common goal of growing and improving together.
I love that energy, Abel. So here's the question for everyone listening today. Drop a comment below this video right now and share with us one simple daily habit that you are going to stop doing this week in order to reclaim your focused time and protect your precious daily energy. It could be stopping the morning phone scroll, stopping the habit of worrying about things outside your control, or anything else that's been quietly draining your water bottle day after day.
Yes, please do share your answer in the comments below because your response genuinely helps and inspires every other learner in our community who reads it. We are all crossing this river of growth together, one stepping stone at a time, and your honest reflection encourages someone else to take their own next step forward. So please do not just read the comments today. Be the comment that changes someone else's perspective and brightens their day a little.
Wonderfully said, Abel. And remember that every small, intentional choice you make today is a stepping stone. Every 10-minute coin of focused effort is water well spent. Every time you choose the green garden window over the cloudy regret window, you are living more fully and more intentionally than you were the moment before. You are not behind, you're not too late, you are simply on your unique journey and it's still fully and beautifully unfolding right now.
And that's the most encouraging thought to carry forward from today, Abel. You are still on the journey. The garden is still there waiting for you. Your slow friend of fulfillment is still walking steadily behind you and will catch up in its own perfect time. Keep adding your small coins, keep taking your stepping stones, keep using the word yet, and keep choosing intention over automatic drifting, one gentle day at a time.
Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep speaking with confidence and ease. This is Anna.
And this is Abel, and you have been listening to the Mr. English Fluent Tutor podcast. Bye-bye. Take care.
And hey, before you go, please click on the next video waiting for you right now because your next step of English learning and personal growth is already there, ready and waiting to keep your language progress and your mindset moving beautifully forward. We'll see you there.